Let's talk about reblooming daylilies. We get lots of questions about rebloom. What is it and how can I get more of it? Because rebloom is a great trait if you can get it in your daylilies. So in this video I'm going to talk about what rebloom is and 3 things you could do to encourage more rebloom in your garden. So what a lot of people think of when they talk about reblooming daylilies are daylilies that bloom and then stop and then bloom again later in the season. And that's certainly a good description of one kind of rebloom. I have a variety here. This is called My Special Angel. It's an early season bloomer, so it bloomed about a month ago. And as you can see, it's putting up more bloomscapes. A couple things about this. This is early July, and some varieties will rebloom like this on at different times through the summer and into the fall even. Just kind of depends on the variety. And I also did want to mention I've got 9 clumps here of this variety, and you see that 3 of them are reblooming. And that's kind of common about rebloom. It's not really common that everything blooms. The rebloom's not going to be as big and flush as that's the first time around. That's just pretty much not something realistic to hope for on most rebloom varieties. You're going to get a portion of them that'll rebloom. So this is the one kind of rebloom, and we're going to move to a different part of the garden and look about a different kind of rebloom. I got sidetracked on my way to show you the different kind of rebloom. Came across another one that's reblooming pretty well. This is the variety Wild Horses, and you can see just like on the other one, My Special Angel. See, look, it's got the rebloom skates coming up. See, so this one's got several clumps doing that. Look at this one. So this is going to have a nice little set of bloom here in another week or so. And this was an early bloomer, so it bloomed about a month ago, and now it's getting ready to rebloom again. All right, so now we'll move to the other spot. I talked about one kind of rebloom being where the variety blooms and stops and then blooms again. And the other kind of rebloom is where it just kind of continues. So it's kind of extended bloom, but it's also rebloom. So what I'm going to talk about, I'll show you an example here. This is the variety Adena Blizzard, and this is one of our best reblooming varieties, which is especially nice in this pretty white color. But you'll see here, here's a scape that has bloomed and is done for the season. All right, and then you've got these here that are blooming right now, and look at all the buds, still to go on here. Let's see, well, this one's actually kind of finishing up on this scape. But then look right behind it. Here's a scape full of buds, hasn't even started. And then here below is another round, and then down below you got, see all these little ones coming up right there. So this has got several weeks more worth of bloom, just reblooming kind of as an extended kind of rebloom, one bloom just right after the other. Okay, so there are 3 things you can do to help get more rebloom from your daylilies in your garden. Okay, the first one may be the most challenging for you to do. If you happen to live somewhere that doesn't have a very long growing season, you're going to need to move somewhere that has a longer growing season. Okay, so I joke, but think about it. The folks in Florida, their daylilies start blooming, maybe in April, and they've got warm weather until, October, November. So they've got a long time period that gives their daylilies a lot of opportunity to bloom and rebloom. Okay, and you folks that your daylilies don't start blooming until July, and then your season kind of wraps up in September, you just don't have as long a season. So that's going to impact, your opportunity to get rebloom in your garden. So that's the first thing you could do. All right, so the second thing you can do to try and encourage rebloom is your daylilies, and this is really the big one, is you need to select varieties that are prone to reblooming. Now there are some varieties that will, and then there are others that they're just not going to rebloom for you. That's just the way it is. Nothing you do can encourage them to, they're just not going to. Now I will say that a lot of people really base what they order or the daylilies that they plant on which ones rebloom, and that's fine, except that you really kind of limit yourself if you just select varieties that rebloom, because there are certain colors that are there are a lot more varieties available in those color classes that rebloom. And then there's other categories, like there's not a lot of really good reblooming purples, for instance. So if you limit your garden to only things that are listed as really good rebloomers or rebloomers, you're gonna limit what you can choose. We get a lot of calls, hey, I want Stella d'Oro, which is a really nice small flower reblooming gold. Oh, but I want it in purple, or I want it in pink or red. Well, there is no such animal out there. You can't get it. But that's going to be the thing that you're going to want to do, is select varieties that are listed as rebloomers. We list all that information on our website with every variety, and you can select for ones that are listed as rebloomers. And in addition, we list our top 20 rebloomers. And those are going to be some of the ones that you're going to be most likely to get good rebloom on in your garden. So the third thing you could do to help encourage as much rebloom as possible in your daylilies is, assuming you've selected varieties that are prone to rebloom, is to make sure that your varieties, that your daylilies, get as much water as possible. Now you're going to want to water them before the season, during the season, and after. And making sure your daylilies get plenty of water is good for a lot of reasons. It will encourage more blooms. Your blooms will be bigger and more vibrant color, and it will encourage more rebloom. So that's the third tip for making sure your daylilies get as much rebloom as possible. Okay, so just to recap what we've talked about today, there are a couple of different things that people talk about when they say rebloom in daylilies. There are varieties that will bloom and then stop and bloom again later on in the year, and that can be just a month later or a couple months later. We've had some bloom here in October. The frost gets them. And then there are some varieties that will bloom and then bloom again right away, kind of an extended bloom, but that's also a form of rebloom. And then the things you could do to encourage rebloom in your daylilies. If you live in a certain part of the country, you're going to have more chance of getting rebloom than if you live somewhere with a shorter growing season. But then selecting varieties that are listed as rebloomers, that's going to be key, because those are the ones going to give you a chance. If it's not listed as a rebloomer, probably not much chance you're going to get any. And then lastly, plenty of water. That's a great thing, not just for rebloom, but for everything about your days. Plenty of water is a great thing to do. So we've been growing daylilies for a long time. We really got hooked, and that's how our nursery got started. I think if you haven't grown daylilies, you ought to give them a try. There's so many different varieties, something for everyone. And if you have any questions about daylilies, we love to talk daylilies. You can put questions in the comments below, or all the information about how to contact us is on our website. So let us know. We'd love to talk daylilies with you.